You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, we take you to Joplin to learn more about how second-year medical students are giving health assessments to local elementary students.
Also, authorities in Oklahoma deal with a manhunt after they pursue a 34-foot camper.
We're looking at some scattered showers on radar this morning, mainly down in northwestern Arkansas. I'll let you know what that means for the weekend when we have the full forecast in just a bit.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
And I'm meteorologist Sam Lane. At 7 o'clock at the top of this morning for your Thursday.
That's right, and it's about 150 KCU second-year medical students that provided free health assessments to local elementary school students. Fifth graders from Kelsley Norman, McKinley, and Irving elementary schools participated in Score One for Health.
That's right, KOAM's Fernandez Silva has that story.
Fifth grader at a Joplin elementary school, Peyton Rodriguez, was one of the almost 150 students who had the chance to participate in a preventative health screening initiative, a part of Score One for Health. Instead of going to a regular doctor office for that, Rodriguez was checked out by Kansas City University students.
It's more interesting and they don't use big words as much, so you can understand them better.
One of the soon-to-be doctors treating elementary school students is Madison Nagel. On her second year in the program, she says that this time offered a more in-depth experience.
Really important for us because this is the most authentic practice that we can get.
Score One for Health includes dental, blood pressure checks, and physical assessments. For most second-year med students, this was their first time face-to-face with real patients. Not only a learning opportunity, but also the chance of giving back to the community.
There's nothing in medicine like really learning how to do that with a live person. And so they are learning, they are also giving.
It's a heartwarming experience in that we have an impact on the community and that the community trusts us.
The program prepares them for the upcoming years in med school.
When they go into their rotations in their third and fourth year, this builds their confidence and their experience with working with a patient.
It also teaches them how to communicate clearly with their future patients.
If kids can understand you, then they know what's happening.
So it's really interesting that it's such a big perk for us and a huge perk for the community as well.
In Joplin, Fernandez Silva, KOAM News.
If a medical student saw something concerning about their patients, clinical faculty was available to offer support.
What a great program.
I love that, right?
Yeah, that's a great thing.
Hands-on experience.
Absolutely,
right there.
both for the kids and the doctor students.
Right? How fun.
Yeah. We have some scattered showers on radar this morning, but nothing really major down in northwestern Arkansas, where they're starting to spread in from the west into western parts of Benton County around Decatur. Let's zoom in on that activity. You can see what I'm talking about there, just near Highway 42 along 102, Arkansas 102 over towards Bentonville, and that is about it. Other sprinkles were scattered up in southwestern McDonald County earlier. Maybe a sprinkle there just west of Pineville, and that is about it. If you're suffering from allergies, it's going to be on the bad side today. Moderate category, 8.8 today. Most of that being ragweed, which a lot of hay fever sufferers deal with that. Nettle and chenopod making up the rest. Tomorrow, a little bit of an improvement, around 8.4 on the scale. Today, this afternoon, we're going to see partly cloudy skies with temperatures rising into the upper 70s to around 80 degrees for your high. Lunchtime temperature is 75, then 78 at 2 o'clock and 79 at about 4 p.m. Sending out the kids this morning for the school, 56 degrees. Might need a light jacket, especially up towards the north in Nevada and Stockton, where temperatures are in the lower 50s. Most everywhere else in the mid to upper 50s. And then as we head home from school this afternoon, temperatures are going to be in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees with partly cloudy skies. So this afternoon, we're going to be looking at partly cloudy conditions. A fantastic Friday, maybe some morning showers on Saturday morning, but it shouldn't be a big problem. And then a great weekend, and then unsettled as we head towards the latter part of next week. And of course, I'll spell all that out in the forecast in detail in just a little bit. Now let's go over to Caitlin with this morning's news.
Oklahoma authorities charge a man with the murders of 3 people. John Brian Good was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder for the death of Jack Grimes, Dwayne Selby, and Dwayne's mother, Glenda Cookie Parton of the Tulsa area. Grimes' remains were found in a wooded area on October 31st, 2021. Selby and Parton's remains were found last month. Yesterday, he pled no contest in another homicide case that occurred in Tulsa. He was sentenced to 32 years in that case. A police pursuit of a 34-foot camper turns into a manhunt by Oklahoma authorities. The pursuit began shortly after 11 yesterday morning in Newton County, Missouri. Ottawa County deputies and the Oklahoma Highway Patrol joined Missouri authorities when the pursuit entered the Sooner State. The pursuit ended just south of East 114. There were 2 men in the pickup. 1 man fled on foot and the second was detained. Police K-9 joined officers on foot and ATVs, as well as a police drone and helicopter. And you can follow this story on KOAMnewsnow.com as it is a developing story. The superintendent of the Webb City School District yesterday announced his retirement. Dr. Anthony Rossetti has been with the district for 15 years. In a statement posted on the district's Facebook page, Rossetti said, quote, "The success of this district has achieved during my term as a superintendent goes to the hard work of our Board of Education, our amazing staff and students, and the unwavering support from our community," end quote. His official retirement date is June 30th of next year. The federal government will be giving more than $500 million to Kansas recycling infrastructure projects. The Environmental Protection Agency is making these funds available for Kansas to improve solid waste management planning, data collection, and implementation of plans. It's courtesy of the bipartisan infrastructure law. The investment, totaling $105 million nationwide, is a part of the EPA's largest recycling investment in 30 years. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announces 27 cities will receive a total of $22 million for highway improvements. The money will go to improve intersections and state highways extending through cities as part of the Kansas Department of Transportation's City Connecting Link Improvement Program. In our area, Fort Scott and Pittsburgh will each receive $1.5 million for slope and curb improvements. The city of Girard and Yates Center will receive $1.5 million for pavement restoration. These funds will become available for the fiscal year of 2026. A Webb City, Missouri man is the last of multiple defendants to plead guilty in a case that involved an abduction in Joplin and a murder in Oklahoma. 29-year-old Trey Ackerson pleads guilty to second-degree murder for killing 35-year-old Jolene Campbell in July of 2020. Investigators say Ackerson robbed Campbell in Joplin. Then Ackerson, along with a co-defendant, Brianna Sloan, kidnapped Campbell and took her to Mays County, Oklahoma. Ackerson admits he killed Campbell there by shooting her, cutting her throat, and beating her. He could get up to life in prison without parole. 7 other people from the Joplin area have pleaded guilty for their various roles relating to the kidnapping or for conspiring to obstruct the federal investigation, including threatening witnesses. And Campbell is 35 years old and leaves a grieving family. After this 9th and final conviction, an FBI special agent in the case says, quote, "We hope they can finally begin to heal from this tragic loss." Coming up, Dustin Luno from the Joplin Fire Department stops by to talk about the importance of sleeping with your door shut.
And later, we'll meet 3 sisters from Florida who all share the exact same birthday. You're watching the KOAM Morning News right here on Fox 14. We'll be right back after the break, but first, here's a live look from Immigrant Park in Pittsburgh, Kansas.
In Health Watch this morning, if you wear your dirty socks to sleep, you could be spreading bacteria on your bed sheets. A study by Mattress Next Day asked more than 1,000 people if they sleep with their socks on. 18% say they do. But 70% of those who wear socks to sleep say it's the same pair they wear all day. In the study, researchers examined the socks people wore from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. They found all-day worn socks could contain the same bacteria found in cockroaches. Researchers say that specific bacteria can easily spread and cause infections. They recommend putting on a new, clean pair of socks before going to bed if you like to have your feet covered. And a warning for those who have a desk job or who sit for extended periods of time. Research shows people who sit 10 hours or more per day could be at a higher risk of developing dementia. The team from the University of Southern California and the University of Arizona asked 49,000 participants aged 60 and above to wear devices on their wrists to track movement. After 6 years of follow-up, the research team found prolonged lack of movement was linked to the increased risk of brain conditions. To date, dementia affects an estimated 5.8 million American adults, with one nationwide study showing Americans, on average, spend 9.5 hours sedentary. A new study suggests smoking not only impacts physical health, but mental health as well. Danish researchers report they've linked smoking to an increased prevalence of mental health disorders, including depression, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia. While studies have previously suggested there's a strong link between smoking and mental health, researchers say they had not been able to decide whether smoking causes mental disorders or if individuals who already have a mental disorder smoke to ease their symptoms. The study concluded that smoking not only causes mental illness, but increases the risk of being hospitalized with a mental illness by 250%. Updated COVID-19 vaccines will be available this week, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The agency recommended the updated shots for the public, which means they'll be covered by public and private insurance plans. Mandy Gaither has more on how this vaccine is different and what you need to know about it.
Across the U.S., COVID-19 continues to spread, and now there's a new weapon to help fight it. An updated vaccine.
Part of the reason, they wanted to get this out there is because while the numbers are still low, thankfully, they are going to go up. They always go up as the weather gets cooler and drier.
COVID hospitalizations rose about 9% compared to the week prior, but are lower than last winter's peak. Still, there's no clear picture of how many cases are out there since fewer people are testing, but officials are seeing the virus in wastewater.
It's gone up significantly, so that's usually sort of a early warning system, if you will, in terms of how much COVID is out there.
To help lower risk of severe illness, hospitalization, or death, the CDC is now urging everyone 6 months and older who hasn't gotten a COVID-19 vaccine in the last 2 months to get the updated vaccine. CDC advisors say those ages 5 and older should get at least 1 dose. Children 6 months to 4 years who may be getting their first COVID vaccine should get 2 doses of Moderna or 3 doses of Pfizer, with at least 1 being an updated shot. The CDC says those who are immunocompromised should be up to date with at least 3 doses of COVID-19 vaccine, and at least 1 of those doses being the updated vaccine. The new shot is updated to fend off the currently circulating viruses that cause COVID-19 by teaching the immune system to recognize spike proteins of the XBB.1.5 viruses now spreading.
The new shots contain a single strain of the virus, unlike last year's shots, which contained 2 strains. Those older shots are no longer authorized for use in the U.S.
All right, we're looking at a beautiful sky this morning in Seneca, Missouri, at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Just a few clouds out there with some sprinkles in and around the area, especially down towards the south. Right now in Pittsburgh, though, it's 51 cool degrees, north-northeast wind at 3. The dew point is 49 and the humidity at 94%, and the visibility is about 10 miles. Here's a look at radar. You can see the scattered showers mainly down in Oklahoma this morning. Also a few showers up in Greenwood County. We're going to zoom in on this activity in northwest Arkansas, right around Decatur, moving over towards Mason Valley, and then also around the Bentonville area right now. It's pretty cool out there, especially up to the north. Check out Stockton. They're 49 degrees right now, 50 in Nevada, same thing in Fort Scott, 51 in Iola, 51 in Chanute. Then you start getting into the 60s and upper 50s, still 60s down in Oklahoma with 63 in Nowata and 64 in Veneta for some of the warmest readings this morning. All right, take a look at the dew points. We're going to be seeing the dew points increasing as we go through Saturday morning. That's what's going to help the scattered showers and sprinkles, especially on Saturday morning with dew points in the 50s. Then the dry air starts to move in Saturday afternoon into Sunday and most of Monday with dew points in the 40s, so the dry air starts to come back. Rain chances are going to be pretty close to 0 for the next 36 hours. Really not expecting a whole lot. We're going to have to wait for this storm system that's over the Intermountain West right now. As it goes through the weekend, this is going to move in on Saturday morning, and that's when we see the uptick in shower chances, especially Saturday morning. But by Sunday evening, that's going to be all gone, and then we're going to be in a northwesterly flow pattern with cooler conditions behind that system. Rainfall amounts are not expected to be all that great with that system on Saturday morning, maybe around 500ths in some of the isolated heavier showers down on the Oklahoma side. Most areas won't receive anything. Then as we go into this afternoon, we're going to see highs in the upper 70s to maybe around 80 degrees with southeasterly winds. Then as we go into tonight, mostly fair once again with lows in the 50s. And then tomorrow, partly cloudy skies with highs in the 70s, maybe a sprinkle or two up to the north and west. And then as we go into Saturday morning, that's where the better chance of scattered showers will be across our area with lows in the 50s and 60s. And then Saturday afternoon looking great with highs in the 70s on northwesterly winds. Over the next 7 to 10 days, looking pretty good today and tomorrow. Scattered showers on Saturday morning. Sunday looks great. That continues into Tuesday. Then storms on Wednesday and a better chance of storms, I think, next weekend with highs in the upper 70s and lower 80s. Now, coming up, Special Olympics Kansas hosts a first of its kind event that teams up the elderly with some very, very special athletes. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from Pittsburgh, Kansas and Immigrant Park.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Joining me today in studio is Training Chief Dustin Luno, and he's here to tell us about the importance of sleeping with your door closed. So, Dustin, I've heard this before. Having the door closed is actually safer for everyone in the household. Why is that?
Yeah, absolutely. The whole purpose is that by keeping the door closed, we're eliminating the ability for one, fire to spread, but two, the most important is keeping the smoke out of the rooms in which people are sleeping. Fire now moves very, very rapidly through structures. Our materials that we use today are mainly synthetics and petroleum-based products where 30, 40 years ago it was like cotton and wood-based materials, natural-based materials. Studies are showing that typically within a 30 to 40-year-old house, individuals would have up to 17 minutes to exit the structure when the smoke detector went off. Wow. That has gone down to around 3 minutes. Today,
3 minutes?
3 minutes.
The whole house is just up in flames like that, huh?
Well, it's not as much the flames, it's the smoke propagation because of the petroleum byproducts that burn. They burn very, very rapidly, but they off-gas very heavily, and which becomes very toxic. And it's that smoke inhalation that is our main concern. So by sleeping with those doors closed, it is a huge difference, and we're going to post a video to your website by the UL Fire Research Institute. It's a really great video if you have a few minutes. It's about 5 minutes long. It shows you the importance in a full test scenario of having one door closed and one door open and exactly what that can mean as far as survivability.
Okay, so say you're in a house, a multifamily, people are living there, and there's smoke. Do you recommend that you guys have a game plan? The kids all
Absolutely.
Go out the window? What do you recommend?
Yeah, so having a exit plan and exit strategy is extremely important for when that smoke detector comes off. So that's practicing it as a family, and that's routinely because the kids enjoy it. It's something that I did with my kids when they were little, and then having that meeting place outside where everybody knows. Well, once you go outside, you go to the mailbox or the tree in the front yard or whatever that is. Because when we roll up, or any of our local fire departments, the first thing they're asked is everybody out, and that's going to dictate what our next moves are. So yeah, practice your exit strategies, and then have that meeting place in the front yard.
And if there is a fire and your door is closed, is it still the whole touch the doorknob handle? I remember hearing that.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you use the back of your hand, you touch the door, you'll tell very, very quickly if it's hot, or if there's fire on the other side. And there may be instances where you might need to not use that exit, and then you use a window as a secondary exit, or even shelter in place. And you have quite a bit of time once you do have that door shut, that we will come in and we'll get you.
Wow, it's fascinating. Well, Dustin, as always, thank you so much for coming in studio and teaching us all this.
Thank you very much.
And you stick around at home, because we have more news coming up.
They say good things come in threes, especially for a couple from Ocala, Florida.
Yes, they welcomed their third daughter this month, but there's something unique about her two older sisters as well.
September 3rd is a busy day for the Turner family as they celebrate their 3-year-old daughter's birthday and their 2-year-old daughter's birthday. The situation is all too familiar as their two daughters now celebrate their special day with one more Turner.
That was a miracle. September 3 is a special day for us.
Newborn Juliet Turner will blow out the same candles as her sisters, Jasmine and Jessica, who are all born on the same day.
It was like deja vu all over again, the same thing. And everybody was shocked and surprised. They couldn't even believe it.
When Saudi Turner was pregnant with her second daughter, Jessica, her due date was close to her first daughter, Jasmine's birthday. But they never imagined Jessica would arrive September 3rd.
The word started spreading around the hospital, and all the nurses already knew about it. And even the security downstairs, when I used to go out down there, I heard them talking about us.
And then came Juliet.
Makes celebrating birthdays easier.
I know. Jeremy says all the girls were born at Ocala Advent Health. Despite the same birthday, Jeremy says each girl has a different personality. While the odds are nearly unbelievable, the parents call it a triple miracle.
Celebrating their birthdays is going to be a special day for us because it's for all three of them. So it's going to be really fun. We would like to do something big for them, maybe take them to Disney.
For the Turners, all good things come in threes, and on the 3rd of September.
Pretty interesting.
Well, I mean, it makes it easy. All you got to remember is one date.
That's
and you
right.
Got them all.
That's right. You better not forget, parents.
Yeah, right? All right. Well, coming up, Mercy Park adds a new sculpture to its collection.
That's right. We have a beautiful morning shaping up outside at both Mercy Park and across the 4 states. The question is it going to be rain for the weekend? Well, I have the answer to that coming up in your forecast when the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 keeps on.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. The time now is 7:31 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. Special Olympics Kansas yesterday hosted a first-of-its-kind event in Columbus. The Seniors Unified Olympics aims to get everyone moving, and Special Olympics athletes 45 years and older are paired with a senior citizen to explore various activities. Volunteer high school students assisted with the teams to cheer them on.
I feel like the goal of today is just movement, inclusion, socialization, and just to kind of get out of the house a little bit for a day and spend some time with some friends.
Kansas partnered with Compass and Medical Lodges for the event. Mercy Park welcomes a new addition to its Rotary Sculpture Garden. Strength and Courage is the name of the latest sculpture, a bronze lion joining 19 other sculptures populating the park. This work is by artist Catherine Gray Johnston, who sculpted the park's 2021 edition, Wishing on a Star. For her, Strength and Courage has a personal meaning.
I said, yeah, I'll be on board. So that's how the line got started. But the Strength and Courage is about my parents giving me the strength and the courage right here in Joplin, Missouri to do all of this. And if it wasn't for my parents, I wouldn't be here.
The garden is the result of a collaboration between Joplin's 2 Rotary clubs, the Rotary Club of Joplin and the Joplin Daybreak Rotary.
We have a few showers this morning on radar, but it's mainly down towards the south in northeastern Oklahoma and northwestern Arkansas. You can see them basically moving from west to east. Zooming in on the activity that's down in northwest Arkansas, we have a few showers near Decatur around Highway 102. That's moving over into the Bentonville area. Just a few spotty sprinkles are expected this morning, but by afternoon, partly cloudy skies should take over. Also, we're looking at the allergies on the moderate category today, 8.8 on the scale of 12, most of that being ragweed. So if you suffer from hay fever, that's going to be a problem today. Tomorrow, a little bit of an improvement, but still in the moderate category at 8.4. And if you're heading out today, we're looking at partly cloudy skies with a high of around 80, around 75 at lunchtime for your picnic outdoors. Would be a great day to have that. And then 2 o'clock, 78 degrees and 79 at 4 p.m. Sending the kids out to school this morning, we're looking at temperatures in the 50s. And then by afternoon, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 70s with partly cloudy skies. Now stay tuned because I'm going to have a complete look at your forecast, including a peek at the weekend in just a little bit. Caitlin?
The Missouri State Board for Higher Education approved a new designation for Missouri Southern. Each university in Missouri is given at least one designation for its mission. MSSU's designation has been International and Global Education. The approval clears a major hurdle towards the university, adding health and life sciences and immersive learning designations.
So the statewide mission is a way to recognize institutions for a specific strength or focal point within their role within public higher education in Missouri. So, I think the additions of these two certainly hold up some of our strengths in health and life sciences. And that certainly connects with our new Health Science Innovation Center that we're constructing soon.
The designations still need to be approved by the state legislature before taking effect. Lawmakers will consider it next year. The Missouri Department of Conservation asked hunters to share their harvest. The MDC asked deer hunters to donate deer meat to local food banks and local food pantries to help feed hungry Missourians. Donating is easy. Simply take harvested deer to an approved meat processor and let the processor know how much venison to donate. Meat processing fees are covered entirely in part by numerous local sponsors along with statewide sponsors. To share the harvest venison, contact local food banks or food pantries. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. We'll take you to Oklahoma, where one shelter is taking to raising cattle to help feed its people.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News with more real news in the morning. We'll be right back with your Thursday forecast as well as a look at the weekend when we come back.
But first, here's a live look from Immigrant Park in Pittsburgh.
The mission of most shelters is to provide food for the body and mind. One particular shelter in Oklahoma, though, does just that. But they've taken food production for their residents to a whole different level. Ryan Gillian has the details.
You want everything on yours?
Sitting down and enjoying a hot meal is an important part of the day. But at John 3:16, the organization believes good food
You want lettuce?
is more than just a basic need. It can be a source of new opportunities and experiences, even outside of the kitchen.
You're welcome.
Stephen Whitaker and the organization offer that through raising cattle.
With the inflation costs, with food costs and beef in particular, we got very serious about getting our own cattle here, and we started getting the fencing done and cattle guards and infrastructure done and hiring people, and got some students moved out to this campus.
Whitaker says raising cattle is intense work, but thinks it's meaningful for those in addiction recovery trying to get back on their feet.
We're supposed to love our work. It's not supposed to be something we dread, and so it's just one more piece of the puzzle to help people get their lives back together.
Along with providing people work, the cows are also being used to feed people coming to the shelter. Only 2 cows have been taken to the butcher shop so far, but Whitaker says it's great that the kitchen can make all sorts of things with the ground beef, chuck roast, and beef brisket provided.
It gives people a dignifying meal.
They leave the table not only full, but satisfied with the work they did to get it on the plate.
The John 3:16 mission began in 1952 inside a converted fish market in downtown Tulsa. It fed and sheltered over 40 people on its very first night. Coming up, Starbucks releases its new Halloween cups, and we will have a look at your complete weekend forecast when we come back with the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. And welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. A beautiful morning shaping up across the area. A little bit more cloudiness down to the south in Seneca, Missouri, with our friends at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. But those clouds are going to start breaking up as we go through the morning hours. Right now in Pittsburgh, it's 53 degrees with a northeast wind at 3. Feels like 53. The dew point's 50. So the humidity is kind of high at 90%. Traffic is moving along pretty good. Right now, zipping along there on 69. Let's take a look at the radar. We do have a few scattered showers. They're mainly down in Oklahoma and northwestern Arkansas this morning. Zooming in on a little bit closer view on those showers near Mason Valley over towards Cave Springs, moving over towards Interstate 49 there south of Bentonville. Temperatures this morning were very cool. In the 40s, it was 49 last hour in Stockton. Now it's up to 50, but still quite chilly. 50 in Fort Scott, 51 in Iola. Then you start getting into the 60s in the metro area, and then mid-60s down to the south in Nowata as well as Veneta with 64, as well as northwestern Arkansas. Dew points are going to be low today, but then as we go into Saturday morning, they're going to be picking up a little bit into the 50s on Saturday morning with those scattered showers and sprinkles. And then the dry air comes back in on Saturday and Sunday and into Monday with dew points in the 40s. As a result, we're not expecting any precipitation over the next 36 hours, just a sprinkle or two down to the south this morning, and then that's it. Next storm system is in the Intermountain West right now. It's going to be moving towards us as we go into Saturday, but it's going to be very rapidly moving through. Saturday morning, it'll be arriving and then moving out quickly. And then by the time we go into Monday, northwesterly flow, and we're going to see mostly fair skies once again taking back over. Rainfall amounts with that system on Saturday morning are not going to be all that impressive. Maybe 100th here or there, maybe 500ths down in northeast Oklahoma, but that's about it. Temperatures this afternoon are going to rise into the upper 70s to lower 80s with partly cloudy skies and southeasterly winds. Then as we go into tonight, mostly fair once again with lows in the 40s and 50s, 40s up to the north obviously and 50s elsewhere. Then tomorrow afternoon, partly cloudy with highs in the upper 70s, maybe a sprinkle up to the north and west, and then especially on Saturday morning with lows in the 50s. And then Saturday afternoon, highs are going to be in the upper 70s across the area with north winds. And over the next 7 days, drier weather on Sunday, and the next chance of rain will be on Wednesday, and better chances of showers and storms next weekend with highs in the upper 70s and lower 80s. Now let's go over to Caitlin with this morning's Consumer Watch.
Thanks, Sam. Halloween is still 7 weeks away, but a lot of businesses are already cashing in on spooky season enthusiasm, with retailers releasing Halloween merchandise as early as July. Starbucks is jumping on the Boo bandwagon too. The coffee giant is out with this year's Halloween drinkware lineup. It includes new tumblers, cold cups, mugs, and more. The drinkware hits shelves this month at participating U.S. locations for a limited time while supplies last. The items range in price from $14.95 to $29.95. And fall is almost here, and when it comes to air travel, prices are falling fast, especially international flights, according to travel experts. Jen Sullivan has a closer look and tips to find great deals on flights.
Airfare is falling this fall, and travel experts say now is a great time to book air travel, especially if you're looking to travel abroad this autumn and beyond.
Flight prices over to Europe are actually about to come down in a pretty significant way here as we get into the fall and into 2024.
According to travel app Hopper, autumn fares are 9% less expensive than last year and 10% cheaper than in 2019. Ticket prices for September and October are 29% cheaper than the average prices for peak domestic summer travel. And international ticket prices to some destinations have come down by a similar amount. Travel expert Scott Kai says lower prices are driving up demand among people looking to visit popular international destinations in Europe and South America.
Number of Americans traveling down to Mexico, 20% higher than it was in 2019. The number of Americans flying over to Europe, 15% higher than it was in 2019.
So, how to find a great airfare deal this fall? Kai's has these 3 tips. 1. Use a price monitoring tool to get real-time updates and get notified when prices are at the lowest for your trip. 2. Consider flying during the middle of the week instead of on the weekends. That increases your chances of finding a cheaper flight. And 3. For overseas travel, consider flying over Thanksgiving. Kai says it's the hidden best week for international travel.
Especially if you've got the week off work, if the kids have the week off school, and if you're interested in those Christmas markets.
We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Thanks to dozens of volunteers, a woman in specialized wheelchairs reached Colorado's highest peak.
That's right. Reporter Spencer Wilson talked to her about what it meant to get back on top after wondering if she'd ever be able to summit a mountain ever again.
Great day doing something I love outdoors, hiking, and
Chris has been in the chair for almost 7 years now, after an accident in Clear Creek Canyon.
never thought by the end of 7 steps into my hike, I would be paralyzed at the bottom of a canyon.
She fell the equivalent of 8 stories down.
I could feel up here, and I looked at my wrist, and I knew it was broken. And then when I was touching my lower body, I couldn't feel anything at all. And I knew right then I was paralyzed.
Unable to walk again, she's entered a different phase of her life, and she's finding new experiences along the way, thanks to the Lockwood Foundation.
I got to climb a 14er again. A woman, me in a wheelchair, got to accomplish Mount Elbert, the highest peak in Colorado. This is amazing.
Volunteers spent all of last week taking turns pushing, pulling, and lifting Chris up the trail to the top.
I'd hear him, as we got higher, just behind me, they're out of breath and they're struggling, but they never gave up.
They camped overnight and started again Sunday, bright and early.
About over halfway up Mount Elbert, and the sunrise, we got started at 5:45 this morning.
And as the sun rose,
Look how far we've made this journey. We are almost to the top.
so did her spirit.
I was high on life. I was high on Colorado.
My words can't even describe the feeling that I think all of us have, but being more emotional that I got to get on top of the world again.
A sight she hasn't seen since the accident, a uniquely Colorado experience within her reach again.
If they want to do it, there's a way to do it. Don't put it off. Life is short. You never know what tomorrow has.
And her advice to anyone on how to make the most of it all.
You just got to get up every day, get out of bed, and do something. As my motto is, get up, get out, get rolling. Every day.
Good for her.
Absolutely, very inspiring.
Very
get
inspiring.
up and get
Hopefully
going.
she'll climb more 14ers there in Colorado.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, might as well do them all.
All right. Well, how's the weather looking for us?
It's looking pretty good. We have a few scattered sprinkles out there this morning, especially in northeastern Oklahoma and northwestern Arkansas. But as we go through the afternoon, those are going to start dissipating and moving away, and we're going to be left with partly cloudy skies. You can zoom in on that activity and show that they're already starting to fall apart a little bit between Decatur and Bentonville. Allergies, they're still going to be bad. Around 8.8 today out of 12. Most of that ragweed, nettle, and chenopod. A little bit of improvement tomorrow with 8.4. And then your forecast for today, partly cloudy with a high around 80 degrees, 75 at lunchtime, and then partly cloudy this afternoon with highs again in the upper 70s and dropping through the 60s by tonight. And bus stop forecast sending out the kids to school, 56 degrees this morning, but by the time they come home from school, temperatures will be in the upper 70s, so they might need a light jacket this morning, but by afternoon, they won't need it. And looking down the lane, we're going to have partly cloudy conditions today, fantastic tomorrow. Morning showers on Saturday, and then unsettled weather as we head into the early part of next week with a better chance of scattered showers and storms. Still debating on the timing of that and also how much of a chance we're going to have, as we're still in a drought situation and we need more rainfall, that's for sure. But at least temperatures are going to be moderate and around normal as we head through the next 10 days. So that's pretty good news. We'll be back with more news and weather when we come back with the KOA Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A Webb City, Missouri man is the last of multiple defendants to plead guilty in a case that involved an abduction in Joplin and a murder in Oklahoma. Ackerson admits he killed Campbell by shooting her, cutting her throat, and beating her. He could get up to life in prison without parole. 7 other people from the Joplin area have pleaded guilty for their various roles related to the kidnapping or for conspiring to obstruct the federal investigation, including threatening witnesses. Oklahoma authorities charge a man with 3 murders. John Brian Good was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murders for the death of Jake Grimes, Dwayne Selby, and Dwayne's mother, Glenda Cookie Parton, in Tulsa. Grimes' remains were found in a wooded area on October 31st, 2021. Selby and Parton's remains were found last month. Yesterday, he pled no contest in another homicide case that occurred in Tulsa. He was sentenced to 32 years in that case.
All right, here's a look at your forecast for today. Partly cloudy skies with temperatures in the upper 70s, maybe 80 degrees in a few isolated spots on southeasterly winds. Then tonight, mostly fair and cool once again with lows in the mid to upper 50s across the area. Then as we go into Friday afternoon, partly cloudy with highs in the mid to upper 70s, maybe a sprinkle or 2 up to the north and west. And then on Saturday morning, that's when the best chance of sprinkles and light showers will be across the area with lows in the 50s and 60s. Saturday afternoon looks pretty good with temperatures in the mid 70s, maybe a few upper 70s with northwesterly winds. And over the next 7 to 10 days, looking pretty good for your Sunday with a high of 82, then getting into the mid 80s by Tuesday. More storms on Wednesday and even a better chance of storms next Friday and Saturday with temperatures in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees as we go into the latter part of next week and early next weekend. But we need some rainfall around here because we are still stuck in that drought situation. But hey, at least temperatures are right at normal or slightly below, so we can't really complain all that much.
No, we can't. And hey, in case you didn't know, Taylor Swift is huge, but just how huge?
That's the good question. Well, America's largest newspaper chain, Gannett, is hiring for a reporter to cover everything Swift and nothing else. That reporter will be hired to write for USA Today and the Tennessean.
Gannett wants a journalist who can capture the significance of the Grammy-winning record-breaking star's music, legacy, and cultural and economic influence. The Shake It Off singer's impact is literally seismic. Her fans shook it so hard at a Seattle concert that this summer it actually registered as an earthquake. Gannett's decision to post the job comes with some controversy.
All right, well, thank you very much for letting us in your morning.
Absolutely. We'll see you right back here at noon.